I'm jealous. Our junior co-hosts get to have so much more fun than we do.
Right? We should bring
They're
some
out
art stuff
painting.
on set and do something. That was beautiful, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, out and about with AJ and Noelle.
Right.
And so we'll see where they're headed next week and what they'll be up to. But we are shifting gears now, and we are talking to the one and only Jenny Lovell, mental health therapist. Good morning.
Good morning, but I'm not seeing you guys.
Uh-oh. Don't you worry. You can still hear us, and we'll get it sorted. But we are live, Jen, so we can see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing fine. It's Friday. It was a stressful week in a sense, so it's good to have this conversation with you this morning.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm stressed this morning, let me tell you.
Okay.
Oh, don't be. Please don't be. But, Jenny, I have been dying to ask you because this week with the recent story about Simone Biles, I just feel that this conversation about coping with stress is really just out in the forefront. In the international media, they're discussing it every day. There are different opinions on her decision, and her decision is her decision. But let's just dive right into that. The idea that people who seem high functioning and high performing can also cave under the pressure of stress.
Yes, but she's also, if you look at her body, look at her eyes, look at her eyebrows, she's depressed. Adapt to the stress. Adapt to stress.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can look at her eyes they are lifeless almost. She's definitely depressed, added with the added stress.
Yeah.
That would be too much to manage.
And this is something I think that people have a hard time understanding. When someone portrays themselves as strong and successful, as such a great athlete as she is, and very often we talk about athletes and how they build their own mental strength.
Toughness.
Yeah, in the discipline of their sport, but it's almost hard for people to be able to connect the two. That you can be this monster athlete, but also struggle with mental health issues as well.
Because we're human beings. We are human beings, and things happen so quickly.
Yeah.
And going on the world stage again, right? Mm-hmm. Going out on the world stage, and she has to perform, and I am sure there's something else going on with her.
Yeah.
I hope she's seeing someone, or that the doctors have approached her or something there at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Because then she won't be able to function in anything else, really and truly. But she is definitely depressed as well as super stressed. The two things do not go together.
So the argument that people have made is, well, you sign up for this. This is the world level sporting event. You asked for it, you worked for this. This comes with the territory, this type of stress. And I want to use that as an example for what I know is part of our conversation today, where you are seeing more and more people having a hard time coping with the levels of stress at this time.
Oh boy. Let me tell you something. You work, you practice, you put in your all into this. Then something happens. And with stress, stress can come on. You have no idea. Yes, she knows she's going out there and she'll be competing against all kinds of people from all over the world, right? But you add something else to that, and then you have this situation. It's overwhelming. And we're talking today about the different types of stress.
Yeah.
You have the basic stress that everyone has. I woke up late and I need to get to work. That's stressful. But if you add there's eustress, good stress. Eustress is I'm going to the Olympics and I might bring back some medals. That's eustress. It's good stress. Yeah. Well, guess what? It's good stress coupled with other things that becomes toxic stress. You see, stress it tends to overwhelm you.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy we're talking about that today, because really and truly, people get overwhelmed if it's too much. It's too much for a prolonged period of time, and then it overtakes you.
Yeah.
Some people end up, you could end up in a hospital with more than acute stress at this point. It becomes definitely something way bigger.
Yeah.
We're going through this and we'll talk about it, but I tell you, I look at her and I feel for her.
Yeah.
Because everybody has their say in it,
Yeah.
and she still has to go and show her face out there every day and be very composed.
Yeah.
I think this woman is so strong. She is really such a strong person.
Yeah. See, I share that sentiment. I think the strength it took to say it's too much is beyond anything she could have done on that floor.
Yes.
But that's not something that's culturally or as widely accepted.
Yeah. Even in the workplace.
Yes,
Even in the workplace, how many of our bosses would accept us saying, Marlene, you're my boss. How many of our bosses would accept us saying, it's becoming real burdensome in the office, and I need to step back.
Yeah.
I really need to take a break, half day maybe, an entire day to really reevaluate my mental health.
Yeah, yeah. There are things like mental health days that in other parts of the world are acknowledged. And it's not something I think for us here that we're at, but
we have those, Marlene.
Well, we just use them as sick days,
Yeah.
We have mental health days built into our. The government gives you X number of sick days.
Yeah.
Those are mental health days.
Yeah.
You don't have to get sick to take those.
Yeah.
Those are mental health days that you should be able to use and access when the stress becomes to the point where it's almost overwhelming. But that's why you have sick days, so that you can take that mental day and rejuvenate yourself. Mm-hmm. We don't see it like that here.
No, we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Don't see it like that here, but other parts of the world, those sick days are actually mental health days that you need to take them.
Yes.
I know people who boast that, I have 200 sick days. You shouldn't be boasting about that.
Or vacation days. Like, I don't think it's a good thing if you're just accumulating vacation days, because it shows that you're not taking a break. But this is the point though, because we are like, it's a really interesting place that we're at. There is the culture of being proud of hard work and long hours and excess productivity. And then there's also this other narrative that, and as I said with this conversation with Simone Biles, where we're starting to see that it just is not physically and mentally possible to be so solely dedicated on this goal.
Yeah.
Now, let's dive into your presentation, because you say there are two aspects of stress. There's the stress that we need to kind of keep ourselves going. Mm-hmm. But then there is the negative stress.
The negative stress. The positive stress keeps us motivated. Mm-hmm. I tell you, there are lots of us, and I say us. We perform best when we're under pressure. We get the best work done.
Right.
You throw something at me and I can get out there and, I can get on my hands and my feet and do somersaults and do all that stuff and get the work done, right? I get it done. There are lots of people like that. But if you do that too often, then it begins to have wear and tear on your body. You can't keep that up all the time. Or you can't sustain that for long periods of time either. Right?
Yeah.
So no, we have to pace ourselves. Yes, there are occasional times when we have to get out there and really, really push and be under the pressure. But that's not something you want to constantly do. It's like taking a rubber band and you pull that rubber band as taut as you can get it. You don't want to have that rubber band like that all the time, because if you do, it will break.
Yeah.
And it will still be you in the process. The idea is that you can pull that rubber band for a period of time to get what you want done. Yeah. But you cannot do that all the time.
So,
and that's how we are constantly. We are like that rubber band pulled out here all the time.
Yeah.
At what point does it reach acute and chronic stress?
Okay, chronic stress is when you're like this every day. Like, I think you're a reporter, right?
Yes, I am.
So you go out there every day, don't you?
I do.
You have to go out
most
there every
days,
day,
yeah.
and you have to get behind the stories.
Yes.
So you're at a level of stress daily, aren't you?
Indeed.
And then you have to get to the news on time with that.
Right. We have a deadline daily.
You have all these deadlines you have to meet. You have all these things that you have to meet on a daily basis. So your job, you have to be doing things to ensure that at the end of the day, you take time to put your body back into stasis. And I don't think as a country of people, we don't look at that.
Nope.
We cannot constantly be under that level of stress on a daily basis. It's not just reporters, you, Marlene.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're juggling all kinds of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And that's okay for a little bit, but you've got to take one day a week where you kind of slow things down, or in the evening time, you find things that you do to de-stress your body at the end of the day. Do some meditation, do some deep breathing, do something to de-stress yourself. Give your body back what it needs to calm itself down.
To bring that balance, yeah.
Yeah,
to bring that balance, yeah.
We, as a country, we do not do that. It's constant.
And you know, I think it's one of those things where do you, and it is generational, I'll say that much, because I know the work ethic that my mother taught me is very different from what we now know and understand about balancing life and work.
Right.
And so it was very different once upon a time. Now we're kind of like in a flux situation where it's like you got to take care of yourself, but you still have to be productive. But the question is, though, Jenny, some people have their coping mechanisms. The concern is when people don't, and the effects, the long-term effects of stress and what it can do can be very debilitating. And I want us to talk about what are some of the signs that you can look out for? What are some of the things that we can say, okay, this is definitely near crisis or at crisis with chronic stress?
Okay, so before we get to chronic stress, let me just throw this in here. People don't just have work that they're dealing with, you know.
Of course.
It's not just work that they're dealing with. You have children. And right now with COVID, people are at home working with their children in the home that they're not accustomed to. And the children are accustomed to having the parents there seeing everything that they're getting into. So you have work, you have home, you have the deadlines you still have to meet, you still have to figure out how to get cooked and do all these things. So people are juggling lots of things that they didn't have to before. Okay?
Yeah.
So you were stressed before when you go only to work.
Yeah.
The stresses were at work. When you come home, there's a little bit of stress, but it's not maximized like it is now. Now you have all these things every day, all day, on a daily basis.
And no escape.
Nowhere to go to.
Yeah.
You can't escape and say you go to your room because all the kids are there. Or the kid is there. Right? Your husband might be there too because he has to stay home and work too. True. So you have to get up, you have to cook. Oh my gosh. All the things that people are now juggling, right? Yeah. They're making less money. Yeah. That is chronic stress. And and when people get to a point where it's so much and they're overwhelmed, lots of things can happen. You know, people explode. They might do things they wouldn't normally do, like possibly hit the children, scream at the children, get into altercations with their spouse, their loved one. I mean, so many things, and we see it and hear it every day. I mean, look at, okay, so you're really stressed out. There are things you need to do to take care of yourself.
And it can have a physical manifestation too. You could have, it takes a toll on your body. You can have sleep affected, develop chronic conditions.
Your stomach, you get problems with your stomach, people are talking about, they have to drink things every day to calm their stomach down because they get the acid reflux. I mean, the physical manifestation of this is really, really bad. You can't have this every day. You absolutely cannot. You've got to find things to do to settle your body back down at the end of the day. And I really believe that every day at the end of the day, you've got to take time for yourselves when things calm down in the home. Your husband goes to sleep or he leaves with his friends for a little bit before curfew. Or your children go to bed and you're able to sit down and maybe do a little meditation. YouTube has so many different types of things that you can do to meditate, to just sit quietly and listen to some music quietly, to calm your mind down, calm your body down. It's critical that we're doing these kinds of things.
Yeah.
Or we'll see more people going over to see the psych nurses with what they used to call nervous breakdowns, mental breakdowns.
Yeah.
It's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. It's too much.
So the key thing that I've seen in your presentation so far is, one, stress is unavoidable. It's also necessary. Everybody experiences it, but pay attention to when it accumulates and it becomes too much.
Too much.
And ensure that you have an outlet available on a regular basis. Let's dive into some of those outlets.
Right.
It could be exercise. That's one way.
I can't see a thing up here, guys.
I know, but you can tell us. You know all this stuff, Jenny. So it could be exercise.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh. What
exercise. Make sure you take breaks during the day. Take breaks during the day. Mental health breaks. Just close your eyes and breathe.
Take your lunch hour. Yeah.
Go. Get away from the kids. Go down someplace and sit down. Drive your car up to in Belize City. Go down to the water and just sit. Water tends to calm you down. Call a friend. Talk to a friend and have them talk some nonsense with you.
Yeah.
I have friends who call and they laugh. They get me laughing. So you tend to just put all the stuff aside for a little bit during the day and take care of yourself. Okay, very, very important.
That's right.
Listen to music. Turn on some music. I love turning on music because music has its own way of calming you. But do little things, just little things. And when you're under stress, you don't want to be eating heavy meals because that's what helps to give you the gas and give you all the problems with your stomach.
Yeah.
You want to eat small things every 2 hours. Eat small little meals. Yeah. And when I say meals, little protein meals, bits of cheeses, some raisins, things throughout the day, every 2 hours to keep your blood sugar from falling too far, but that keep you up and out of stress. Okay?
So those are some of the coping mechanisms. Jen, let's talk about when it's probably a good idea to seek some help.
Okay. When the stress becomes so overwhelming that you're now checking out, you become depressed. You become depressed because you're not managing. You're not coping at the level that you used to, and you know it. You know it. And you also know that you do not have the resources within yourself to do it. Seek help.
That's
Go
right.
talk with somebody. Do not, people in our country, well, not only in our country, the stigma is out there everywhere. But people are so afraid of going to talk to a mental health professional.
Yeah.
And there are lots of us out there, by the way. But people are afraid to go and talk to mental health professionals about being stressed because it seems like a sign of weakness. It is not. We all go through it because we all think we're super women and supermen.
Yeah.
And we're not. Our bodies tell us we're not. We cannot keep up that level of intensity all the time. We can't do it. We have to be time to bring ourselves down and relax and take time for ourselves to have that mental wellness, that mental calm. And like I said again, take a few minutes out of the day just to put on some music, close your eyes and listen to it, and then pick the stress back up again.
Okay.
But take a few minutes for yourself.
That's right.
Critical.
I love your final slide, because this is one I always say, and I always find myself, if I'm talking to somebody when they're in a tough spot,
Right.
this is the one I remind them of. Jenny, let's talk about the serenity prayer, the power of the serenity. But even if you're not religious, this is
It
just
is
such a
for
powerful message. Yeah.
Yes. God, give me the strength to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom. The wisdom to know what I can and can't change.
That's right. That's right.
And when all else is going around you and is falling down around you, say the serenity prayer.
Yeah.
But say it and understand what it's telling you.
Yeah.
Because there are times when you have to know, I have no control over this.
Recognizing your
control over this.
uncontrollables. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
That's right.
And be able to step back like Simone did. Simone is a strong woman. She's strong because she could see and know what she is not capable of managing.
Yeah.
And she stepped back and said, nope, I'm not doing it. I cannot handle it.
I do think it's such a pivotal moment for mental health to see what she did.
Yes.
And I think it was a far, in my opinion, it was a far greater act than some of the gold medals that she has earned. To be able to say in that moment, in a society where people are very judgmental, that no, I don't have the mental capacity or the mental strength to do this at this moment.
At
Doesn't
this
mean I'm
time.
weak, but just not right now.
No.
Exactly. That takes strength.
Yeah.
That takes mental fortitude, intestinal fortitude.
That's right.
To be able to do that.
Well, Jenny, I feel less stressed just
Indeed.
talking to you this morning.
I was going to say, I feel like
Yeah,
I
you
just
look
went
zen.
through.
Look at you.
I mean, come on. Jenny always brings such a light voice to these conversations, such a warming and soothing voice. I feel like I went through an entire therapy session just now. Feel free to bill us whatever that cost. We'll pay.
But Jen, this is why we love having you on the show, reminding us once again, we've been talking about mental health for so long, and I do think that we minimize the impact of stress, and it was important to have this conversation.
Can I say one thing, Marlene?
Please.
Go ahead.
I really want to encourage people. Simone set the example for us. Know your own strength and know your own weaknesses. And when you are at that place where you know that I've reached my capacity, do something about it, please. Do something about it. That's my final word.
Thank you so much, Jenny.
All right. So with that, we'll go into our final break. No, our third break, sorry. And then we'll come back with MY Bites, My Bites, a business.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna enjoy some food, find out what they're doing.
I see how distracted you are at the idea of food. I see a whole lot of stuff happening over there. We're gonna be cooking in just a bit, but we'll take a quick break and we'll be back in a few.
Right.
These are the people who I want to appeal to. Make those little slips. It happens. You have to have a plan to manage your problems effectively. How are you going to do it? Fall off the horse? Jump right back on.